Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'm going to be doing a quick book tag, and this tag was originally created by a creator named Ariel. I will leave her channel linked in my description below, but the purpose of this tag is to kind of look at the last half of the year, or the last little bit of the year, and figure out what we still need to accomplish for our reading goals. Let's just get into the 6 questions. Question number 1 is, are there any books that you started earlier in the year that you still need to finish? And I am a big proponent of putting down a book that I am not enjoying. So I am very constantly picking up a book, and if it's not piquing my interest, I just give up on it and move on to something that will entertain me. But there is one book that I am considering picking back up, and that is The Book of Mordred by Vivian van de Velde. This is a King Arthur retelling focusing on Mordred and told through the lens of 3 women in Mordred's life. And I got about 100 pages into it, and I was enjoying the plot, but the writing is pretty dry. This was released in 2005, and the writing was just not connecting with me as much, so I wasn't as invested in the characters as much. I felt pretty distant. So I don't know, I might finish this by the end of the year, and it was a pretty quick 100 pages, so I could probably read it really quickly, but we'll see what happens in these last couple of months. The second question is, do you have an autumnal book to transition you to the latter half of the year? And of course, I am such a big mood reader, and when it gets all spooky and cozy out, I want to read thriller, mystery, horror books, or books that just have really vivid writing, vivid settings to kind of set the tone for the latter half of the year and the season and the vibes of fall. So obviously I already said mystery, thriller, horror books in general, but I have 2 specifics. One is a horror fantasy novel called The Helm of Midnight, and this looks fantastic. I have it on hold at the library, and I don't know much about it other than it has to do with death mask magic. So when you put on a mask, that's what the magic system is, and someone steals a particular mask and is being a serial killer and is like killing people. So it's a mystery, it's a fantasy, and it's a horror novel, and I'm just really excited, and I can't wait for my library hold to come in. The second book I am also dying to read is called Velvet Was the Night by Silvia Moreno Garcia, and this is another noir mystery by this author. I've read 4 books by this author, and each one of her books is different, but she wrote another noir kind of mystery book that I absolutely loved. So this is another noir mystery, and it just screams spooky fall mystery vibes to me. And again, I have this at the library on hold, so we'll see if it comes in time. Question number 3 is, are there any new releases you're still waiting on for the latter half of the year? Yes, I have a couple new releases that I still really want. So first of all, is Cytonic by Brandon Sanderson, which is the 3rd book in the Skyward series. The sequel comes out in November. This is a young adult sci-fi quartet, and I am dying to know what happens to our main character Spensa and her shenanigans. This is a really, really good character-driven sci-fi, and the first book is phenomenal. I won't give too much away because this is a sequel, but I am dying for Cytonic. The other sequel is, I'm waiting on my sequel for A Song of Wraiths and Ruin, and I have already pre-ordered this, so it should come as soon as it's out, and that is A Psalm of Storms and Silence, which is also out in November. This is another young adult fantasy. This is a young adult fantasy featuring 2 characters, a princess and kind of a peasant character, and Karina deals with chronic migraines, and Malik, the other character, deals with anxiety, and they are tasked with killing each other, and they end up falling in love. And I'm just so excited for the sequel of that. The other book I'm really excited about is another young adult book, and that is Terciel and Eleanor by Garth Nix. Now, I love Garth Nix's Old Kingdom novels. He's written several. He's kind of been expanding the Old Kingdom series. So originally was a trilogy, Sabriel, Lyriel, and Abhorsen, and as time has gone on, he's added kind of one-off sequels. And Terciel and Eleanor is a prequel to Sabriel. So Sabriel's father, his name was Terciel. So this is about him as he is apprenticing to be the Abhorsen, which is a necromancer who puts down the dead instead of raising the dead. So he's trying to protect the kingdom by controlling the dead. And I'm really excited. I'm hesitant because I haven't loved some of the newer releases in this ongoing series, but I think this one could surprise me. Question 4 is, what are 3 books you want to read by the end of the year? I have so many. Again, I have a bunch of holds at my library, but I'll go through a couple really quickly. So the first one is She Who Became the Sun. This is a historical fantasy queer Mulan retelling, and this is adult. So this is about a woman who takes basically over her brother's identity to change her fate. And I love the Mulan trope. I love the Mulan story, and this is a retelling from an actual Chinese American or Chinese author inspired by the actual history of the character. And it's queer, it sounds amazing, it's adult, I'm really excited for it. Another book I really want to read is called All's Well, which is a Shakespeare horror mystery novel. And the reason I want to read this so bad is because I love books about Shakespeare, and the main character is chronically ill, and I love to read about characters who are also struggling with chronic pain and chronic illness. And this is our main character who's trying to put on a production of All's Well That Ends Well, a play by Shakespeare, but her theater students don't want to put on this production, and there's some kind of mystery surrounding that. The last book I want to get to by the end of the year is Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. And the way that this has been described to me, it's like 2 dueling magicians fall in love with each other. And I've heard that this has really beautiful lyrical writing, and I feel like this would be a great book to read curled up next to a fire in the winter time. So I hope that I can get to this by the end of the year as well. Question 5 is, do you think there are any books that you are going to read that will shock you and become a new favorite? Well, I hope these books will become new favorites. I go into a book thinking I'm going to love it, but I have a feeling, I just have that inkling about this book, and it's called The Atlas 6 by Olive E. Blake. This is a story about a magical competition where the magic users have to compete to join a secret society, and it sounds dark, and I love like competition type storylines, and I just like looking at this cover, it just gives me like dark, moody vibes, and I'm really looking forward to picking this up. I don't really want to know too much going into it. It has a super long description in the back, but I just picked this up, and I just have this feeling that this could blow me away. I know that this was independently published, and I love seeing independently published books in major bookstores, and so I found this at Barnes & Noble, and I was really thrilled because I just love supporting independently published authors and giving them a chance and seeing their books more readily available. So I'm excited about this. I hope this is a new favorite. It sounds right up my alley. And the last question already is, have you already started making reading plans for 2022? No. I'm such a mood reader. As books are announced, I get excited about those particular things, and I pick things up on whims, and I, use my library a ton, so it kind of depends on what my library has, but there is one book that I am planning on reading immediately. And that is the sequel to Tess of the Road by Rachel Hartman, and it's coming out February 1st, 2022. As of right now, the sequel to this book is coming out, and I just, look at the cover. I'm so excited. Tess of the Road is about this young girl who runs away from home. She's dealing with a lot of religious trauma and finding her voice and finding out who she is as a person away from her abusive family and in a fantasy setting. And this book just makes me weep every time I read it, and it leaves off nicely, but with the expectation that there will be more to Tessa's adventure, and this is her continuing on her voyage and her journey, and I'm just so excited for it. So Tess of the Road came out in 2018, so it'll be 4 years between the first and second book. So if you're wanting to pick it up, now is the time, because you don't have to wait as long as I did for the sequel. And I'm kind of hoping it's just the 2 books, but at the same time, I want her to write more in this world, because I absolutely love Rachel Hartman's writing and this world she has created. Those are just the 6 questions. It was a nice quick little video, and I hope you enjoyed learning about my reading plans for the latter half of the year. And I will see you in another video very soon. Bye, everyone.